It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Obiajalu. It's May Day or Saturday,
Day,
but today we're celebrating it. How you doing?
Happy Workers' Day.
Happy Workers' Day.
Yeah, they're all workers.
Yeah, I'm just grateful to God for life, and I'm hoping that our workers are well taken care of. I'm hoping that Nigeria will become a country that people will be proud to work in. That when you're working, you have your welfare package, settled, you have your insurance settled, you have your pension settled, so that after work, you will not be struggling and begging and looking for children to help you when you have served your nation. So it's a prayer that I'm doing today, that God will heal our land, basically. I'm also excited because our business is expanding. I'm selling across different online platforms.
Okay.
I started my fashion business a long time ago, before I joined Your View. But then I used to sell in the platform, and the platform had an issue, and they closed down, and I lost money. I lost money. So now I'm doing business a smarter way. I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket, so I'm trying to put the market out there. So if any platform has a problem, I'm not running helter-skelter and finding ways to. So that's what we've been working on.
Yes, the digital age opens up lots of opportunities, and I think it's time for us to begin to dig in and see what there lies for us. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I love the hair.
The color. So thank you.
It's beautiful.
So today, right, I just think we should put a spotlight on the name. Have you heard Victory Nkabanjo?
No.
The young teenager who won
18 scholarships.
She got many scholarships from Ivy League schools in America and some in Canada. She had, of course, in 2020, I think many people heard that story. She got all A's in her WASC, and then she now wrote the Cambridge IGCSE exams, and she got all A's. And of course, just scholarships galore. Everybody wants her to come, So I feel, many times especially today when we're going to be talking about a particular girl that has just gone through, we know the sad story over the weekend about that girl, and then we know even before the other sad story about a girl, but this is a positive story about another girl, and I want us to also remember that if we allow them grow, if we nurture them properly, if we protect them, there's so much that they can do. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, because
how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Thank God for it. So,
I'm afraid you said you wanted to yabos.
Yes, Mariam started this self-love thingy, and I jumped on it. So one of the self-love things I did was to do my nails. Okay. I did my nails thinking, okay, let me even be girly. Let me even act like a female, right? On that 1 week, the thing went off. And I'm thinking, listen, you know what, man? Maybe I should just be my natural self. This stuff ain't working for me. So I appreciate the challenge, but you know what? I'm not doing this again.
But after every week, you have to keep mine is natural.
Yeah.
Just paint it.
The natural thing doesn't really work for me because actually, I don't know, I think it's weak. I'm not sure it's very strong. I don't know. I'll see.
Sometimes I feel the artificial ones.
It's what weakens it.
So just keep it natural.
So I'm just I was just going to use the opportunity to tell Mariam that thank you for the challenge, but you know what? I think
my teller was not going to fix
if you don't make your nails
next week, you're fired.
I'm taking
you can just paint the nails themselves. Don't add anything else.
There's no artificial hair.
It's just natural.
So I won't be putting the pressure. All right, cool.
So that's what you wanted to yab us about.
I wanted to yab yourself. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the fun pages on the page. Interestingly, physical papers didn't come today. They said everybody's working. That this May Day, that they didn't show up on time. Well, we'll see how we'll use digital. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to start with the nation as usual. Oh, I'm told the physical papers are here. Well, sorry. So the nation. APC PDP clash over worsening insecurity. DSS wants against threats to security. Nigeria better together, says Tinubu, as 2,000 CCTV cameras for Lagos. Labour queries NERC parameters for tariffs review. Governor to unveil Owerri attacks mastermind. Lady applicants raped, killed and buried in Uyo. And the foreign portfolio investment drop in Q1. Okay, which story? Who has a major headline? The APC PDP clash over worsening insecurity. We have that story.
No, I don't.
No, we don't have that story. Okay, which story do you have in
Is the minimum wage there?
Yes, the labor queries NERC parameters for it. Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
So I have the story. Let me get it quickly.
While you're waiting for that, so
Okay.
APC, one of the APC chieftains, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, attended tafsir with the governor, I think, and Marina yesterday. And there he was saying that Nigeria is better together than separated. And he was speaking against those who are the secessionists, that you've never experienced war, that war is not what we need, that countries who have undergone war are still healing. They're still, it takes time, it takes a long time for them to heal, that we're better staying together. And on the back of that, the governor was also using the opportunity to share all the various things he has done for the state. He talked about the fact that the more buses will be released, and that they've installed 2,000 CCTV cameras across Lagos State to help protect citizens and government property.
Yeah.
Okay?
So the Minister of Labour, Employment and Productivity, Senator Chris Ngige, said he's consulting with the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation on how to deal with states who are still renegotiating the minimum wage. He says that it's already in the law. According to, I think, Section 5 of the Act, they have said that the minimum wage shall be paid. That means it's not negotiable. And every state that is negotiating this minimum wage is, breaking the law. And he is finding ways to sue them, probably take them to court, because I think some journalists asked him what he wanted to do about it. So he's saying that NLC at the same time has said that the minimum wage, you're going to be enforcing the payment of the minimum wage, because this is actually the rights of the workers. So it's not a wage that should be negotiated. It's not a wage that should be discussed. There was another name that they used for that sort of wage that you negotiate, but this one, and that's why they are fighting that it's not taken to the concurrent list, so that it doesn't give the states different negotiation power to change it.
This is actually debatable. I mean, a lot of people think otherwise, but it's not a conversation we want to have today. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. FG vaccine fund runs into crisis. AstraZeneca scarcity hits India. Akwa Ibom office attack, burning of 344 ballot boxes threatens 2023. INEC, says INEC. Brent price slides, petrol landing cost hit almost 200 naira per liter. Fake protest at Akwa Ibom. Protest actually at Akwa Ibom, fake recruiter killing, and the job seeker story. We have that story in our hot topic. Afenifere was right by refusing to support Buhari. We've been servicing our first bank loan, says Honeywell. And we saved 45 northern youths from mob attacks, says Ondo. Let's take the major headline. Mariam,
yes, so we know about the COVID-19 crisis happening in India, and as a result, there's a scarcity of AstraZeneca. So everything is being mopped up to help India right now. And because of that, we know that as Nigeria, that's what we've been using. And our budget estimate was dependent on the price for AstraZeneca, which was at $2. $4.
Go ahead.
Per dose. $4 per dose.
Right.
And because of the scarcity, so we have to look for other vaccines.
Sources.
And the other one that has been NAFDAC approved is Pfizer, and Pfizer costs $20 per dose. Right. And also there's supposed to be a booster jab if you're using Pfizer, so it will come, everything will come to about $60. That's about $24,600 per person. And given the budget, given that original estimate, we may not be able to afford this. We know we have there's no money anywhere, so that is something that the federal government is dealing with right now, so we should be aware of.
Okay, in addition to that, I think the World Health Organization has said that they want to have talks with the healthcare in India to see how they can send expired COVID-19 vaccines to countries like Nigeria. So they are working to see how they can, because I think the initial expiration, so after it expires, you have about 6 months for its effectiveness. So they are working to see how they can extend it to 9 months and see how they can ship it to countries like Nigeria. I don't think we should go that way, because at the end of, you can't trust these things. At the end of the day, they might end up shipping only expired vaccines to the country. What I would advise is, the way people have been taking taking the tests and paying for it, people who can afford to pay for it can pay for their COVID-19 vaccine, so that we take away the bulk of the work. No, if the federal government can bring it in,
of people can pay for it?
No, see, the people that can pay should pay. Then federal government should focus on helping those who cannot afford to pay, so that we don't lump up everybody together.
Okay, so the story I was going to take about Honeywell. So, as many of you know, last week the CBN had sacked the directors of First Bank Holdings. And the reason, obviously, was because, according to them, Honeywell, which is owned by the chairman of First Bank Holdings also, and the chairman of Honeywell, and according to them, they were not servicing their debt. And as a result, the CBN had asked the bank to divest their interest, which means that to sell it off. Now, but Honeywell Group is now saying, according to the papers, that they've actually been servicing their loans and that they've reduced their debt to 30% since they've started, and that they've had a long-term relationship with the bank even before their owner became a chairman in the bank. And they're just saying that because there's a lot of negative publicity about Honeywell over the weekend, and it's important to know that they're saying that they've actually been servicing their loan. So the reason why they were sacked, I don't know, we're still going to, as the days come by, we'll begin to get more stories and more updates on that. Okay, moving on to, you have a story in Punch, another story in Punch you wanted to take?
The Owerri story there.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Daily Sun, I believe. Okay, the Nigerian Tribune. Let's start with Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria owes China $3.7 billion. Outrage over rape, murder of Akwa Ibom job seeker. We'll talk about that a bit later. It's our hot topic today. That's why we're skipping it here. Police intercept 13 guns, 753 ammunition in Ebonyi. Gunmen raise Akwa Ibom INEC office. Why we sent back 42 northern youths to Jigawa and Kano State's Ondo State government. Afenifere justified for not supporting Buhari, Fashion Artist says, at its 70th anniversary. And COVID-19 guidelines airlines to pay $3,500 fine for each defaulting passenger. Okay, which story are we taking in Nigerian Tribune?
State, we have good news because the police force were able to arrest robbery suspects, and in the force also intercepted a lot of arms and ammunition. And this was based on intelligence efforts. There's this. Remember, sometime in January, the Ebonyi State, there was a bank that was supposed to be a robbery. It was foiled, and because of the investigations and intelligence from that, we were able to trace some of these suspects to a shrine in Ebonyi, caught a few of them. There was, of course, a gun duel between security operatives and the criminals, but the police force is assuring Nigerians that they're going to keep working hard to make sure that our country is crime-free. So for me, that's a good thing, you know, to hear about the police force right now. All right.
So our president, says freedom doesn't mean everything is permitted. That's President Buhari talking about World Press Freedom Day, May 3rd, which I think is today. And he admonished the media, Nigerian media, to note that fact that freedom of the press does not mean that every single thing is permitted. And let me try to quote him here. He said specifically that everything, an irreducible minimum in a democracy that will flourish, adding that freedom must, however, be used responsibly. And he was saying that we cannot continue inciting the public with the words we use in our print and our electronic media. We must be very careful to not push the country into that state of war.
That's true, because with freedom, they say comes responsibility.
Yeah.
So if you do have the freedom of speech, the way you can use your platform, be careful also that there's a responsibility. There's a real-life impact to some of the things that we do, especially on print, on social media especially.
Yeah, in addition to that, to the Imo State's Governor, Hope Uzodinma, also admonished the politicians and people who hold political offices that they should be very careful of the sort of information that they share with people on social media, that you could be, you know, having chats with bandits and kidnappers without knowing. He also, you know, talked about the fact that they have been able to uncover those people behind the mayhem that's been happening in Imo State, and in a few days' time, the names would be revealed. A few of them are bandits. A little percentage of IPOB members are involved, and some aggrieved politicians who have decided to disturb, you know, the political sphere in Imo State. And in a few days, they would mention the name so that prosecution can
We've been
continue.
hearing this few days for a while.
That, so we hope that.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, let's move on to Daily Sun. Beef up security in Southwest Oni tells federal government. Ohaneze woos ESN must sub others on peace. Terrorism, Abuja not under siege, says police. You're childish, Father Mbaka replies presidency. COVID-19, FG bars travelers from Brazil, India, Turkey entering Nigeria. Missing Akwa Ibom job seeker found dead. Catholic Anglican Archbishop tasks federal government on insecurity. Okay, which story are we taking in Daily Sun?
Yeah, 3 countries, India, Brazil, and Turkey, as we all know, there's been increased deaths from COVID-19 in those countries. And because of that, the federal government is barring all flights, people coming in from those countries into Nigeria. So first of all, what they have is that if you are transiting through those countries, there's no problem, you're allowed to. But if you're coming from there, then you would be barred from coming into the country, and that airlines that do not adhere to this new COVID-19 law and the barring of the flights will pay 3,500 per defaulting passenger. And non-Nigerians will be denied entry, returned to the country that they came from on the paid by the airline. And then if you leave, if you're a Nigerian, you would come in, you take a test immediately, 24 hours, and if it's positive, of course, you continue to stay until the quarantine and everything. And then if it is negative, you still stay for 14 days quarantine before you're allowed to come into the country. And this is just to keep us safe, and also they are asking that everybody keep with the non-pharmaceutical guidelines of COVID-19.
Right.
So this is serious. You know, there's a fear of a third wave that is being discussed because of everything that's happening around us. Help us. Yes.
In different countries.
Yes.
So Ohaneze
started
a reconciliatory assignment. And one of the things they said they were going to do was to ensure that they bring together Eastern Security Network, MASOB, you know, and every Igbo indigenous or stakeholder to ensure that there's peace. So they set up a 50-man committee. They brought people from Igbo, from all other spheres, industry, traditional rulers, you know, security experts. Everybody's coming together to see how they can, you know, bridge the gap and ensure that there is peace in Igbo land. But IPOB, on the other hand, is say, okay, so they said they extended the invitation to all the other security outfits and members of, you know, Igbo community, except IPOB, because according to them, IPOB has been proscribed as a terrorist group by the federal government, so they can't bring them in. IPOB, on the other hand, is saying that May 30 is the day they normally do a sit at home because of their fallen heroes. It's more like an anniversary for the Biafran community, and they're appealing to every Igbo person that you must not open your shops, you will not go to the marketplaces, and you know, thankfully this is even happening on Sunday, and even the Igbos in diaspora are going to be carrying out peaceful, you know, rallies and protests in their environment.
All right, Father Mbaka, I have that story. So if you recall, last week Father Mbaka had made a pronouncement that the president should resign. He cannot secure the country. And the president had responded saying that, didn't know say Father Mbaka that came to ask for contract after Buhari became president. Yes. And he has also responded, said that that's quite childish and laughable. According to him, that we need a stronger and more experienced goalkeeper at this time. And if they want to put it that it was because of contract, let them come and build the highest university here and mess up, I will still speak. According to them, whoever is saying that is a shame to himself and shame to people who he's representing. Because according to him, what he's saying is unchallengeable. So he's happy that what he's saying is also hitting them hard. But he didn't really deny asking for contract, which I think is listen, that wasn't going to stop him from speaking the truth. Moving on now to The Guardian. Uncertainty as stiffer foreign travel protocols begins today. BBC documentary exposes pension corruption in Cross River. and Nigeria can't afford another civil war Tinubu wants. You have the BBC documentary.
Yes, I do. Well, unfortunately, as we're celebrating Workers' Day, BBC decided to shine the light on pensions and how it's run here in Nigeria. So it was like it was a covert investigation. Especially this was done in Cross River State, and they just uncovered just so many ills that happen concerning pensions. So we all know. I mean, we're Nigerians. We know the story. Ghost pensioners. So these are people that are on the list but do not exist. Then there are so many people that are alive, but they have been proclaimed dead, and yet their money is given to them. But they are alive. The owners of the money cannot get their money, but they have been put as dead on the list and in the system, and money goes to somebody else. Then this one, they said that they were right there in the pensions office where a particular person came to get their pension papers to start and everything. And the official in there refused to do anything until some money changed hands. So you have to pay in order to get your papers processed, to get your own pension. Then they also talked about the unfairness when it comes to governors and, politically exposed people, how when they're leaving, they make sure that their pensions packages are quite juicy. And it just shows how, especially as we're now celebrating Workers' Day, it's important that we sort out that area. We really have to. You cannot spend all these 30, 35 years serving your nation and have nothing to show for it.
Okay, this day our last papers with dwindling allocations, states IGR drive, initiate cost-cutting measures, and I'll tell you those measures in a minute. Rising oil prices puts more pressure on NNPC's finances, and NERC appeals 5-year performance improvement plan for discos. So I read that story, and it was quite interesting to see a few states taking real measures. So I have Taraba and Plateau State. They are sustaining a 50% cut in salaries of political office holders. Nasarawa said it's planned to create a single treasury account and introduce property tax, while Plateau has hired a consultant. Kano State has reverted to their 18,000 minimum wage, while Kaduna is also considering the old minimum wage after they sacked about 7,000 of their workers. The state government said they will set up a committee to see what they can do to be properly advised. Akwa Ibom and Gombe State are looking at measures to reduce wage bills by using biometrics to eliminate ghost workers. So finally,
they're taking measures.
They're taking measures that we can actually see and hopefully measure to ensure that they can actually increase their IGR, because it is now clear.
Governors need to start thinking.
Allocations and
it's dry. That place is dry. That river is dry.
There's no money. That river is dry. So they are now thinking creatively, something that Lagos State has done many, many years ago.
Lagos has always been a pace setter, and we give that to them.
But those that are reverting to the 18,000 naira minimum wage, that's a problem.
NLC is on them, seriously. Minister of Labour and Employment is on them.
Taraba State is saying that all political over 50% of their salary.
That's good.
So they're saying that, listen, I think this time around,
we'll compromise
really
at this point.
Cutting down on their expenses. Yes, you're going to say.
Yeah, so maybe in that case, you can see that they have compromised on that side. So it will be easy, I think, for many people to accept a reversion to a former if they can see that those who naturally or because of their office would have gotten much more than before. So
what I found interesting was the tax consultants. I think one of the few states were going to do that. Lagos State did that too many years ago, where we got a private company to ensure that the taxes actually was getting from Nigeria that is properly that is well organized and is such that we can actually see the value and see the revenue that we're getting from the state. So I'm happy that other states are also considering it to ensure that we get somebody to come and help us look through our taxes and make sure that what is coming to the coffers is actually what is being taken from the people.
We'll still wait to hear from NLC giving this report.
No, they have started speaking already. They are not happy about it. According to them, it's law. And I see reasons with them because we need to look at the inflation right now. Everything is expensive. I worry for people who earn less than the minimum wage. How do they feed? How do they feed their children? How are they expected to pay fees? We have schools that are continually increasing their fees, even public schools. So I think for 30,000 at least, they should try.
We'll see how that goes. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, this topic about this story about this young lady who was a job seeker, and today we're celebrating Workers' Day. Unfortunately, her life has been cut short. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is public holiday for May Day, otherwise known as Workers' Day. Sadly, a young Nigerian job seeker that was hoping to become a worker in Yebong, Umoren, in her quest to make ends meet, have allegedly been raped, murdered, buried by suspected fake job recruiters. Police have since commenced investigation and have confirmed the arrest of 2 suspects. The ugly incident have been gathering quite a bit of concern and outrage across major platforms. Now, we have the hashtag Find Inimoren and Justice for Inimoren. So, now, this is a story lots of Nigerians are quite familiar with, because many Nigerians are lamenting because many fake job recruiters out there take advantage of job seekers. So what are your thoughts on this? And I'd like to give a few minutes to open our phone lines for those of you who have experienced such to call us. This is not the first time we're seeing this. We've seen that there was that young lady many years ago that something similar did happen to her. So you can call us on 091-390-76948. You can also call us on 081-270-53687. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. This was quite a disturbing story. I mean, this is a young girl. I mean, what broke me was that T-shirt she wore. 8 years, I mean, was it 4 years, 8 semesters, you know, she was graduating and she was excited about finally coming to the point of looking for a job. And then these people took advantage of her. Let me come to you, your thoughts when you heard that story, your initial thoughts.
Okay,
Mariam?
so I followed the story, unfortunately, at the time when they were still looking for her, when we were all still hoping that somehow she would be found. It is really, truly a heartbreaking story. Because I remember when I first heard something, you know, I thought, oh, she's been found, you know. But then to hear the circumstances in which she was found. I know that we're trying to also couch this about fake recruiters, but I want to also put it more on the fact that, because I tweeted about this and I was like, when it comes to rape, when it comes to abuse of women, when it comes to murder of women, many times we ask the questions immediately. What was she wearing? Where was she? Where did she go? What was she doing? Who was she with, you know? And somehow take away from the perpetrator himself or themselves. And in this case, this was a girl that did everything right. She told people where she was going. She put on the location on her phone to show where she was headed. She gave them the address, the name of the person. She did everything right. She was not going to a club or coming from a club. She was going in search of a job. And then these people, these men, I think there's one particular person, a suspect, and there's supposed to be a cousin and a father involved. I watched the police say that they were able to find her. They deposited her body at the morgue. Really sad that people are able to just, so it's the audacity for me in broad daylight. You think in this day and age with mobile devices and social media that you can actually just call up someone, rape them and kill them and think you can get away with it. We thank God for the many Nigerians who, when her friends spoke up, everybody was on ground, you know, trying in different ways to make sure that she was found. And I think it was because of the insistence of Nigeria, especially on social media, that this was quickly uncovered. Because it would have gone like many other stories of someone has gone missing and nothing was done.
So it's that audacity you talked about earlier, because this has happened to many people and has just been happened and swept under the carpet. So I'm happy that in this situation, and that's why I want us to also understand the importance of social media. Yes, we've seen where people have young girls. I mean, I remember there's a young girl, I'm trying to remember which school she left from, that this happened. She went to, I think it was Port Harcourt, many years ago. This same story, and she was found dead. And then we didn't have as much social media attention as this at the time. But how could she have, what else could she have done to protect herself, BC? What else? I mean, as a young person, I mean, and you're into these kind of things, how can would you advise her into, what else can a young person do?
You can't advise if you have not been there, if you have not experienced it. So I remember when I just finished from school, from NYSC, and then I was looking for a job. I remember going to several places to go for one interview or the other, and there was this particular place I went to. When I got there, it was an uncompleted building. I looked around. I didn't know what was happening. I saw some boys outside. So I asked them, please, I came for an interview here. They said, go inside. I said, but this is an uncompleted building. They said, go inside. Shebi, you came to look for a job. Go inside. But my spirit was telling me something was fishy about this. And the address was stated there, everything. I had submitted CV, they had responded to me. I just turned back. Thankfully, the bike that brought me was still standing. So I just said, let's go back. And when I go home, I was like, I didn't feel good about this environment. I just knew there was something. What if I had gone there and this sort of thing had happened? You can't tell because right now you're in a place of desperation. There are no jobs. There are no jobs. You have finished school. Your parents are looking up to you. Okay, we have sent you to school. It's time to come and start taking care of us now. And you are going from one job hunt to another. A lot of things will not come to your mind because you need it. You are desperate. There is no hope. We are in a society where it's more like hopelessness. The people who have gone to school do not have jobs. And so every little opportunity that you get, you want to go there and put in the effort. So that God, and she made a prayer. I saw that post where she asked God to help her, that she's looking for a job. And this sort of thing happened. I was reading the papers this morning. The alleged rapist had been found, and he confessed to be a serial rapist. Now, why I'm pointing this out is, you know, when people come out to say they have been raped, we know what happens. Everybody comes for their jugular. Why? After how many years? Why are you not speaking up now? These are some of the ripple effects. Because if those people he has raped before had spoken up, he would have been caught earlier. He would have been taken away from the society. This wouldn't have happened. So when we keep questioning people who come out to say, I have been raped or I was raped, and we make them feel insecure, we make them feel bad for what has happened to them, a lot of people will not come out. The ripple effect is that those perpetrators go scot-free. And continue
to become emboldened to murder.
And they continue the act. My heart goes out to the family of Inyebongo Moren. May God give them the fortitude to bear the loss. It's not something you can explain to a parent. We don't even know the family background. We don't know how invested the parents have been to ensure that this girl comes out of school.
What hurts the most, BC, I think is what Mariam said, that she did everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, as a mother, as a sister, as an aunt, you advise young ladies and even young boys, this is what you do. Do this, you know, after you go to school, go online, be aggressive about your job search, you know, tell everybody, you know, have your friends, or have that community of people that are looking for jobs. And she did everything right.
She did.
Unfortunately, people like this. So it's not about her now. It's about the perpetrators that we're allowed to walk the streets.
Yes. So that's when you asked, you said, how do you advise someone to do it? You don't advise. It's not, the advice is for those who are rapists. The advice is for those who are rape apologists. The advice is for those who are murderers and those who apologize for them.
And those who make excuses for them, because there are people, oh, he raped, let us just, family problem, let us just come.
So the advice is, as they said, when it happens once, when they're even unsure of what they're doing, find them and prosecute them immediately. Because what you do is you embolden them, you turn them into murderers. You turn them into a cartel. Before you know it, they call one more person, two more. After all, they've done it so easily and they've gotten away with it. When we excuse them, we create a society that excuses this sort of thing. And then we come on the other hand and we're crying because someone has been murdered. Meanwhile, we're all complicit when we give excuses for when it's rape, as we say, just rape, she can get over it. But this is what happens, this is what it degenerates to.
Mariah, you asked a question earlier, what sort of advice would I give to a young person out there? You know, I've realized that sometimes we expect that people are like us. We pay attention to the parts of us in other people. We want to see the good in everybody. So because you're an honest person, you assume that everybody else is honest. But if we open our eyes to start looking at the reality on ground, not what we think it should be, it will help us. So, for instance, the way the world is now, it will be unfair or unheard of that you as a young lady or a young man, you're not cautious. You're not paying attention to the environment. Forget about desperation. There are certain measures that all these things are opening our eyes to see that you need to put in place. So you need to find out, is there a website? Is there this? Is there that? You need to ask questions from other people. We need to start becoming conscious and less trusting because of the way the situation is.
Unfortunately, we need to wrap up on this, but as I said, our hearts go out to the families. It's a painful, painful thing for a family to go through. A young girl who struggled to pay her school fees all through, support her through her education, time for her to get a job, and some murderers took her life. And I think this should also be a wake-up call to what we said earlier, that if you know a rapist or you are, you know of somebody who has raped, if you let that person go scot-free, you are creating these people. You are creating these people who are going to rape somebody you might even know in future. So the earlier we get them arrested, get them off the streets, the better for the future of our young people. Let's go on a break. When we come back, okay, I'm told we have a call. Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling. Yakub, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Morayo, this is so sad. This is so sad. As obviously said earlier, what kind of advice and then you talk to the parent now? Is it someone going to tell the parent that it has happened to him or her before? You see, Morayo, you know, where I get problem with this kind of a situation is this. One, Morayo, these people have already confessed that they did this now. They raped this lady and then they end up being killed. Now, they have been caught. Morayo, when they charge them to court, listen to me very well. When they charge them to court now, the next thing the judge will do is that maybe prevention giving them life imprisonment. When they go to that prison, Morayo, one nonsense governor will come one day, all because of his or her birthday or a birthday of his wife, we send these people free. Morayo, that is why this country still remain like this. So me, personal opinion, I may be wrong. This kind of people does this now. The thing that they're supposed to do to them is that they're supposed to tie them on the trailer, drag them until they pass on, or they kill them by fire hanging. Because leaving them someday, somewhere, someday is going to come, a governor will set them free. That is if they give them life in prison. It is not good.
Thank you very much.
It's all about myself.
You see, you know, what Yakub saying is something that hurts a lot of people. Not even just the birthdays. There can be a jailbreak.
Yeah,
just like in Imo State. You know, and these who are set free. It's a painful.
But that's one. So it may also make people feel that, oh, these people are already criminals. But these were, if you see the picture,
young guys,
young-looking, nice-looking
decent
person,
guy, yeah.
decent-looking person. So they are your friends. People they have friends, they have neighbors, they live in a community. Yeah. People know them. So when you do not also report, you know how when you're growing up and your parents notice that you're hanging out to a certain crowd, like birds of a feather flock together. Do you understand? So if you are there, the fact that you're not the one that did it, that you're aware that it's happening and you're friends with the person that's doing this, you're part of it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on this. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to another topic. Our hearts go out again to the families. May God indeed give them the fortitude to bear this loss. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. The House of Representatives presented a bill to create additional 111 seats for women in the National Assembly, which has now passed second reading. The bill, which was read for the first time, sought to alter the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. It's to create 37 additional seats in the Senate and 74 in the House of Representatives for women. Now, if this is passed into law, that's going to be the new numbers in addition to what we have. We'll be having the Honorable who actually sponsored this bill very soon, the Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Nkuruka Onyejo, very soon. We're trying to connect with her. But in the meantime, on the back of what has happened recently, you know, the fact that the laws of the land don't seem to protect the girl child. I mean, just recently we're talking about the issue of rape, and all the indication is showing that no matter how there are different laws of the land that doesn't protect that girl child to ensure that a rape victim gets justice. And some have said it's because we don't have adequate laws that has been able to define various stages. So smooshing, kissing, touching, all those kind of things is not well represented in our laws. Now, when a lawmaker now says, let's create more seats for women. Do you think this is a good thing to help ensure that these laws that can support the girl child are established? Or do you think we don't need these additional numbers to make these laws to ensure that the girl child is well protected?
Mariah, creating more seats will not automatically implement the laws that have been existing. The problem we have is not that we do not have laws. We may not have enough laws, but the laws we have not been implemented. There is no enforcement of the laws that we have. And it cuts across not just the girl child, every other aspect of the economy, the country, government, and all of that. We have policies on ground. We have laws on ground. All you implement now is a problem. Enforce now is another problem. Creating more seats. So the problem I have with Nigeria is we do not know how to place our priorities. With everything that is going on now, the National Assembly has said that they are broke. They do not even have money for all of their oversight functions. The budget is not enough for them to run properly the way they ought to run. Adding more seats, are they working as volunteers? Because we need to pay them. We need to sort out their aids. We need to, we know how much we budget for the National Assembly and all of that. Right. We know that right now the governors are saying that there's no money in the country. The presidency is saying there's no money. We are borrowing up and down. Everybody's trying to tighten their belts. This is not the time to create additional 111 seats. This is the time to ensure that the little laws that we have, we follow through and see an impact. When we now get to that era where there's a boom, we can now decide to add more seats. That's my take.
Well, we'll be having our guest very soon. Hopefully she'll help clarify the questions you've raised. But let me come to Mara. Your initial thoughts when you heard this.
Okay. So, sometimes when women in politics tend to say, oh, women, we don't like to support women. So I will support her on one, which is I love the conversation where you are looking for more representation of women at that level. It's an important conversation that you have started, and I applaud you for that, and I commend you for that. However, I do not think that this is the right way to go about it. Apart from what BC has just mentioned, just that the cost of governance, already that's a conversation we're having as a country. We want to reduce the size of the National Assembly. We want to reduce the cost of governance. We're talking about our budget, the health budget, the budget for the COVID-19 right now, and we're out of money. So, there's so many important things that monies need to go to. We can't afford to pay 111 more reps. So apart from those, we have aids. Recently, I think it was in March, that the National Assembly, they were talking about even where they are, where they stay, the hearing rooms, they need maintenance. Just even as simple as that, you're unable to do that because of the paucity of funds. So for me, if you were if the idea is to push more female representation, I would suggest that what we have on ground now, we have 3 senators per state, right? And then 2 House of Reps per state. What we should do is that of the 3, make 1 or 2 female. So it is what is already there. You can work with what is already there. Secondly, on a personal ego level, I feel a little insulted. Like, are we saying that women cannot continue to fight to empower ourselves, to grow ourselves, so that we are elected? I don't want a woman to get an office just because she's a woman. I want her to get an office because she has proven herself and that she can, that the people trust her enough to represent her, represent them well.
But if you look at it this way, the House of Assembly, Senate is a numbers game. Like, you're represented, the amount of reps you have is based on the states and the population and all that. So if we look at it as a numbers game, and we've seen that lots of laws that we've had actually are not being implemented because certain groups cannot get enough people to support a certain bill. So if it's a numbers game, maybe it makes sense, therefore, to create more seats for women. So ensure that we can get these laws that existed. Because I remember that Senator Tinubu had tried recently to talk about, there were other bills she tried to raise recently that she doesn't get the support. The other bills on the women, the gender equality has been pending. Maybe one of the reasons is because we don't have enough female representatives. So it's a numbers that is necessary. I understand the issue of cost, but maybe, just maybe, if we get these numbers, we can begin to see the changes we are looking for in the National Assembly.
So women will never be respected if positions are given to them based on their gender. So when you fight for women empowerment, it's very important that you establish that women have the capacity to run this, and women should come out and run this as it should. Run it at par with the male folk. But when you make it like, because it's a woman, because we're supposed to have a woman in this position, and you put that woman there, that woman will never gain the respect of people because they will look at her because it's your gender, and that's why you have that position. We are not fighting for that. We are fighting for you come as a man, I come as a woman, they look at us and they rate us based on our capacity, and we do go there and deliver the job. That is what we should be working towards. The laws that we have that are supposed to protect gender should be enforced. We have all of those laws, they've not been touched. We should start fighting for that. Right now, the states, the federal government, we cannot accommodate this. It can be there for a while. We just spend it till we can. Let us work with the priorities we have on ground. We're still looking for money for our security issues. Let's focus on that.
Let me take Adebayo's call. Good morning, Adebayo. Are you there from Abuja?
Yeah, good morning. I am with you. Thank you.
Hello, morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm with you.
You're live. Go ahead, please. I can't hear you, but try to speak.
I would like to comment with regards the flux of the...
Please, could you speak louder? I can't hear you at all. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I would like to comment on the increase in scam interviews of recent too.
Yes.
You know, I could recall some time ago when I was looking for jobs, I started receiving many of these scams. So one of the things I had to do was I started...
Ooh, we really, really wanted to hear that. You see, we can actually link this. You see, there are lots of bills on the floor of the Senate that because of various reasons, religious issues, regional issues, ethnic issues, that have not allowed these bills to come forward because they debate it, but you don't get that consensus. So a young man like this is talking about the fact that he has also experienced this issue of fake recruiters. So the point is, maybe if we have more people like us, women in the House, maybe they can begin to see the softer issues that can be that can be extremely important for the Nigerian citizens. So there are the big issues and there are the soft issues, which are just as important, but nobody is focusing on it because of religious issues. So, for example, somebody from a certain part of the country will say, we can't debate on this issue of gender because I am allowed to marry at this age. You know, there's that conflict. But if we have more women, even from that region, represented, maybe we can now have real conversations on these issues.
Can more women come out for elections? Can we have more women, identify that they want to go for these positions and be elected into it? Can we have women show interest in this and not being just handpicked? Is that possible? I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's possible. That's where I was going to go. So we need to take the power. The women need to do a lot of work. We've had a few, party women that have come and, sometimes behind the scenes, they explain to us the politics of it. Sometimes when you finally see a woman, it's because, okay, the men have agreed. Okay, you have tried. You have been here for us long. Let us, give you something. Let's reward you for your loyalty. That happens. So truly, I think this message is also for all of us. We need to be more involved at grassroots levels. We need to be more involved at the party level so that when a fellow woman who has put in the years and is willing to come out, then we have to support her because we cannot afford to have many more seats. That's the sad truth. It would be nice to have more female representation, but let it be more based on the seats that we have now. We're looking to cut the cost of governance when we have to do it. There's no money. We're a poor country. That years of Giants of Africa, it has passed. So what we need to do is, and I feel that now, because of the, how women, when things get tough, women show up. So let's start showing up on the grassroots. The men always, when they have messed things up, they always run home to the woman to help take care of things. So now this is our time. At the grassroots levels, let's show up and change things.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. Hopefully our guests will be with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So let's now go into the solutions. We'd like to take a few calls that we can get. But the truth is, we are in a patriarchal society, and we know that a lot of there's been a lot of cry for gender equality. So in looking at solutions to these problems that this senator is trying to solve, can we find a way such that every state nominates or presents equal numbers of male and female per state. So for the House of Representatives, the senators, for the next election. So we look for women representatives because what the real issue is that there are not enough women represented in both houses. That is the real issue. And another issue is the fact that there are bills that concern women, children, minors that are not being passed because of the issues they have to go through within in the House. So can that be, instead of making more seats, can we therefore insist that as we are electing the next set of general elections, we have an equal number of male and female representatives from each state on both House of Senate and House of Representatives?
I know that in the House, right, they have this sort of relationship amongst themselves where if one person, one representative is trying to pass a bill, he tries to gather the support of co-members. And in doing that, I don't know why the female members there could not. First of all, let me even go back. I hate to think that all these issues concerning the girl child, the female gender, is something that was almost saying that the male gender does not see the importance of.
Or care about.
I mean, because you're a father, you're a brother, you know, you're a son, so it should be important to you. But those things that are important concerning the female gender, when they sit down with their co-members and they're asking for your support for a bill or something, tell them, I'll give you this support based on your support concerning this particular bill that has been on the, you know, in the House for so amount of time. If you want us to help you push this bill, if you want us to give you the support, this is what I need. Because the thing is, we just cannot have many more seats. We need to cut the cost of the cars. Do you understand what it means? It doesn't just mean extra people coming in. It means that I'm going to pay for more cars. I'm going to pay for more aids. I mean, the aids are many, you know, and you say, and when they talk about their aids, they say they need them. So maybe, so because of all those things, the travel, Esther codes, all this is, that's what we're talking about. It is just too many. It goes into billions of naira. We can't afford that.
Let me even go back a bit. So one of the things I see in politics is a lot of men are not really very comfortable having their wives go very far in politics. So the problem we have, because when it comes to grassroots level and we need to mobilize people to come out for elections, we see a lot of women at that level. But then when you now start moving up, you find that the women are reducing. Now, this is because, one, is a patriarchal society. Two, most of those women are married. And they still have to, you know, listen to their husbands who say, I don't want you in that position. I don't want you to go as far. It's just a few men who really support their wives to go that far. I remember there was a time we had a guest.
Sorry, I have to pause you for a second. Jamila's been holding for a while. Jamila, are you there? Jamila? Jamila, are you still there? Kept her up for a while. I'm so sorry. I think I lost that call. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I remember there was a time we had a guest on the show who explained how, you know, when they are having meetings, they have to stay till the middle of the night, and not every man is comfortable leaving their wives in that position. So if we really want women participation, we need to appeal to the men who see that their wives have the capacity, who see that their wives have the zeal to serve, to release them to serve the nation. When we have a lot of men supporting their wives to go far, we will see people who will come out and say, I want to be in the Senate, I want to be in the House of Assembly, I know I can perform well in this, and we will get more women represented in that.
I remember Chief Kemi Nelson telling, because I did ask her that question, and she said, I mean, this issue of midnight meetings is not as bad as we make it look. That really, yes, she did, once in a while, there are those meetings, but she has attended meetings that is during the day. So, yes, they make those kind of, they make it look, they say that to scare people away. But there are meetings you have during the day. Yes, there are late-night meetings, but sometimes it's not as bad as we all paint it. But either way, I think as we're looking for solutions, so we're understanding why she's proposing this bill.
Yes.
Because we want to ensure that women are well represented. Get that. We're also preferring other solutions, other approaches, other ways that we can still get that female representation across the board. Let's take a few more tweets before we run off. Yes.
Usman Zalia says, she says, more women, a good idea. However, women being handpicked by parties will only make them like puppets who will generally not want to be blacklisted by the already biased set, with the women wishing to be picked, rallying for votes at the party level and no to more seats. And instead of including more seats, they should instead be equal nominations among the sexes.
Let me take
the National
Adewale.
Assembly, as it is already crying too broke to even fund the available seats.
Exactly.
We need to cut costs. There are more sustainable ways for inclusion.
Let me take Adewale from Abeokuta. Good morning. Are you there, Adewale? Hello?
This is Daya.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Adewale, you're live. Go ahead, please. I think it's our phone lines. Let's take a few more tweets, BC.
Okay,
The tweets are- okay,
Oladimeji says, creating additional or reserved seats for women in the National Assembly is a good way to go. In saner climes, we have something similar to this. I do not see the reason why ours should be an exemption. Nigerian women deserve the best.
Olabode says, you said all. What we lack is our priority listing of doing things. We need to get it right. Women can do a lot to the economy of a nation. The other tweet I have here about the rape.
Yeah, so Ajura...
Let me take Chooks. Chooks, are you there? 1 second, Mariam. Chooks, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm joining you guys' conversation this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm a little taken aback by your position. I'm taken aback because you appear to be running my sisters, my mothers, my nieces down. Women are great people all over the world. I actually think that women are better equipped to take up leadership positions, not just in Nigeria, but the world over. I've had occasions where I dealt with women who are my peers, and they turned out to be better persons than myself on the merit. So I think we will be really playing this whole conversation if we keep pushing for considered chances for women. Women are great people. My position is simple. As regards leadership in this country, we need more women participation because we actually need our leadership to begin to wear a human face. For that reason, please let's encourage our women to go into partisan politics. Let them join political parties. Let them become influential in those political parties so as to be in a position.
Chooks, I think we're all on the same page with that. Yeah. We all agree, and nobody's running any woman down. What the ladies and I have said so far is that timing is an issue. We don't have that buoyance. We're not as buoyant as we are that would like to be to afford more seats at this time. What we're saying is that maybe there are other ways to get in that, because the reason why she's asking for this is more representation. Yeah. And maybe there are other ways of doing it for now, but right now we're not as buoyant as we would like to be to be able to...
And we already also mentioned that the existing seats could also put that into consideration right now. Instead of adding more, you would have more seats for women. We have 3 seats per state for Senate. One more reserved for women in that way, so that you still keep the cost down and still have more female representation.
Let me take a final call from this. Good morning. Are you there from Enugu, I believe?
Yes, I'm still in it.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I need to commend you guys for a well-done job.
Thank you, sir.
You are speaking our mind. And I think where I have my challenge over time, and I think the discussion this morning has brought out the right side of me. Because fighting for women, fighting for young girls every now and then, I think the style we are taking is about making our females that are strong and they've displayed that they can be in leadership positions. Fighting for them every now and then will not bring out the best in them, the style we are using. We need to encourage them to rub shoulder to shoulder with the men for every position they are looking for. But because the future generation will continue putting it in their mind that we are fighting a cause, give women their own share or whatever, let them fight. I've worked with women of Zelo, women that are very, very strong in corporate organizations, giving them respect. Even they've done well with shoulder with some men. But beyond that, you mentioned something about politics. I've found myself in politics along the line. And the way the thing is structured, it will be very, very difficult to get women to say that, give us 5 women, give us 5 men. Because you will now start saying that which constituency will provide women, which constituency will provide men. Because the way it's structured, every constituency of about 5 local governments or 4 local governments provides 1 senator or 1 House of Reps.
Right.
So first of all, let's challenge our women to raise shoulder by shoulder
Right.
and fight for them.
All right. Thank you very much for
young ladies for future.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah.
Let's take a few tweets before we run off.
I've got Air Musa. It says, creating more seats for women in National Assembly does not amount to handpicking because these women will campaign and be voted for just like their male counterparts. Are you saying women should be excluded because the country is broke? Really? What happened to reducing the number of men in the National Assembly to accommodate more women? I think we already addressed that, where I said the numbers of seats, as I've said before, the numbers of seats already there. We can include more women, you know, and then
So we'll
reduce the men.
All right,
But
unfortunately, that's all we can take. Any more tweets you want to run off?
Just, can I take two
Yes,
stories?
yes.
Okay, so Rolake says, happening, the security agents should start investigating phone numbers of people and those who share flyers for jobs, because there could be ways people are lured, raped, and murdered. Just as Seven said, wouldn't this happen again and again? Once a rapist is caught, should be castrated. That's one. Secondly, let's start teaching these girls what's happening outside. More than fake job agents, more than 1 fake job agents are out there. Chigozie says, rape and death is a result of our collapsed family system, bad parenting, and the carefree attitude of our society today. How can that rapist be doing this and nobody suspected or checked? It's disheartening.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on this. That's going to break. When we come back, unfortunately, our guest didn't show up. I mean, I guess we're trying to reach her, but the phone lines weren't going through. But we'll still follow up with her to be sure if she's going to go ahead with this bill in the House. Okay, that's all we can take on that. When we come back, we want to a whole nother segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, come May 29th, 2021, barely 26 days from now, Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu-led administration will be clocking 2 years in the office. And also, we're also celebrating May Day. So join us on the show this morning to share some of the accounts of the stewardship of the state in the basic education area, which is the bedrock of any society. Is the chairman, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, Honorable Wahab Alawiye-King. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
To have you.
Glad to be here.
All right, you can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 09139076948. You can tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. All right, sir. So the governor equipped over 13,000 public school teachers with devices recently to help increase their teaching abilities and to improve learning outcomes in students. Could you tell us about the acceptability of this equipment, and is it helping public education and basic education in Lagos State?
Thank you very much. Let me start on the lighter and a positive note that EVA TVC has prided itself as a great place to work. We can equally say that your view with Morayo on TVC is a place to be when it comes to issue of socio-economic, socio-political, and every other thing. So the best place to be is your view with Morayo. So
thank you very much, sir.
that is good. I've said EcoSL is a phenomenon in the sense that it is a complete transformation of the way we do things in the primary education sector. And the idea is to bring the best out on our pupil, to instill discipline, inculcate right value in them, using the character board in the classroom, to encourage and to bring the best out in them, like I have said. It is infusion and integration of technology into a classroom using tabs that are specially structured to give lecture notes in our classroom. So it is part of the third pillar of Mr. Governor. That is education and technology. That is what EcoSL is all about.
Yeah, so I'm very happy about what Lagos State is doing. So I have a fear that other states are not, copying Lagos as fast as, especially when it comes to public education. And I want to ask, I know this is about Lagos State and what you have achieved so far. So 2 questions in one. First, is public education still free? Or because we still hear people say that they are asked to pay 1 or 2 things when they come to register their awards, 1. Secondly, is there any way, or have you seen the body language of other states in finding out what Lagos State is doing and trying to learn from Lagos State?
Thank you very much. We have to start with our mandate. Our mandate is to provide free, compulsory, equitable, whole-inclusive, relevant education in the state, and the emphasis on the free aspect of it. It is free, it is compulsory, and that is backed by so many laws. The UBEC law, the SUBEB law, the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, the Constitution, the National Policy on Education, and all other charter and other convention that has to do with education. It is free and it is compulsory. So paying anything out of it is not acceptable anyway. That is one aspect of the question. The other aspect has to do with...
other states, are they coming to learn from Lagos?
Just recently, the Dawn Commission, which is the institution that is saddled with responsibility of facilitating the socio-economic development of Southwest, just came to Lagos to understudy us, particularly doing this EcoSL training. And the idea behind that is to come and see what we are doing and to see how they can, recommend that to other parts of the state. Edo State, for instance, is equally doing this. As a matter of fact, we went to Edo to see what they are doing with Edo Base before we started our own program, and that is what we are doing. So there are some states that are showing interest to come and understudy what we are doing in Lagos, and when this system is fully adopted nationally, I think it's going to improve the learning and teaching outcome in our classrooms.
Well done, sir. So with the EcoSL, I mean, in fact, for us, we just always hear the word EcoSL. And we understand in Nigeria, there's something about sometimes you have policy, but then it does not reflect in the people themselves. So I would like to ask, since you adopted this way, how would you say it has affected students' performances in exams? And how would you say it has affected teachers' teaching methods and teaching styles?
Well, thank you very much. What we did at the beginning of the program is to do a diagnostic assessment, a kind of a baseline assessment of the program to know where we stand. You understand? We started with 300 schools, and at the middle of that program, we were able to do a benchmark assessment, which is an interim assessment to compare, to be able to do a comparative analysis of schools who were under EcoSL and those who were not under EcoSL. And to be honest with you, the result, the outcome was very, amazing and encouraging. That shows that the program is working.
Wow.
So that is that.
All right. I know we're starting with EcoSL because there are other parts of basic education that we are worried about, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I need to understand, what are the administrative benefits of this? Because it's one thing to have a device in your classroom that is helping you to teach. It's another thing to actually help the administrators, people like you, the regulators. How does that device help you administrate better for the teachers?
Thank you very much. EcoSL is about, inculcating discipline that I have told you. And I have a device in my office. I have a dashboard. As a matter of fact, on my phone, I should be able to monitor what is happening in classroom, in real time.
Oh, really? As you can see, as you are aware, you can monitor what's going on in classroom.
Monitor what is happening in classroom. EcoSL is designed, to monitor and track teachers. You understand, with time on task. To the incidence of...
this is good.
Chairman, calm down. Because if I tell you to open your phone now and tell me what's going on in Ali Moshood this minute, can you tell me?
Yeah, I can tell you now. I should be able to tell you. Unfortunately, the school has not gone now.
Okay, so
I should be able to tell you what is happening. You understand? I will just put it on, and, just give me the name of a school. I put it on, the school will come on, tell me the number of the pupil, tell me the number of the teacher, tell me what is happening in class 1A, class 1B. So those are the things they could excel, it's right in real time too. So it is used to identify and track the teachers. With that, we are able to monitor what they are doing.
So if the teacher is not in
task.
school,
If the teacher is not in school, we can tell. Because it's geo-reference. It can geolocate them. What you are doing. I can even monitor the life of the battery. You can't tell me because the battery is not working. That's why you cannot clock.
I know that's a good excuse.
You understand? From my device, I will tell you the percentage of your battery, and you will tell me the reason why you have not been able to clock
So you have no choice
but... So we use that to monitor, what is happening in our classroom. And with that bring about performance audit. You understand? It let us know what is happening, value added. Lagosian are actually getting what they are paying for.
Let me follow up. So because I consult for schools and I started a program where we empower teachers on the 21st century teaching methods. And I had a conversation with one of the facilitators who she had done her PGD at Open University in Nigeria. And we were discussing, she told me that it's not as if the public schools do not have all of these methodologies in their curriculum. It's embedded there. But the problem between those schools and the schools that actually practice is implementation. So they know the skills, they have been taught the skills, but there is no follow-up for them to implement. And that's why we don't see it as learning outcomes with the children. Now, this is a device that is going to probably supervise implementation. Are they apparatus? Because, it's just starting. So after a while, people, the human factor, are they apparatus to ensure that this implementation is taken seriously so that we can see it reflect on the children and their learning outcomes?
Thank you very much. That is why the monitoring and evaluation aspect of the program is very key to us. You can't have a program of such magnitude without monitoring that aspect. So we have internal monitoring mechanism that monitor the content. We monitor the delivery style of the teachers. We monitor the content to be able to define and identify if we are really getting money's worth from what we are doing. So that is very important. Monitoring aspect of the program is key to us. So we have the learning and development officers from the technical partners who monitors what is going on in the school. We have the basic education quality assurance officers that determine what happened with the delivery style, the content, the instructions. These are the things we need to monitor. We can have the best of infrastructure. We can have the best of teacher. How do you now monitor what is really coming out of that, program and the services we are doing? So our focus is to be able to get, the responses from what we have paid for. From the investment the state government has done, we should be able to monitor it effectively and efficiently.
Okay, well done, sir. But also, I think another thing we need to do is look at the infrastructure on ground, so the physical schools themselves. You know that in Nigeria, when you look at other states, you would see pictures of schools in very dilapidated conditions. I wonder what Lagos State is doing concerning increasing more physical schools, improving the infrastructure.
Thank you very much. The education transformation agenda of these administrations is hinged on three major pillars. It has to do with infrastructure renewal, which we just mentioned, teachers' empowerment and infusion of technology into a classroom. For the purpose of our discussion and your question, the infrastructural renewal aspect. There are 3 or 4 agencies working together to ensure that we continue to renew our infrastructure in Lagos State. SUBEB, with a combination of UBEC, fund coming from UBEC, we are renewing and we are providing the structures and infrastructure. LASIAMA, which is another agency, Lagos State Infrastructure and Asset Management Agency, is also building and maintaining. We have the Special Committee on Public School Rehabilitation, who is also doing the same work. The Ministry of Education, the Works Department in the Ministry of Education is equally doing the same thing. So you can see the massive, the aggressive way we are trying to renew all our infrastructures. Not only the physical infrastructure, you understand, all other emotional infrastructure also we are trying to do. Let me let you know that when we came on board, on a daily basis, I receive requests for furnitures. from different LG. And I'm happy to report here today that I am getting, letters from LG of excess furnitures.
Wow.
So we must give it to Mr. Governor for the determination, for the commitment, he has shown in trying to transform this sector.
Let me come to an issue that people have raised concerning public school, transfer. So I have a child that is in maybe Koshofen local government public school and wants to relocate to maybe somewhere in Surulere, maybe because I just, as a family, we relocated. And she now needs to go. Why is it so cumbersome to get words to transfer within the Lagos State educational system? Maybe
they are not following the proper route. We have a department that's in charge of that responsibility, the school support services. And if you have transfer to be done, there are processes, there are standard operating procedure you must follow to be able to do that. And it's seamless as long as you follow the normal procedure.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So one thing I discovered in the course of my research is the fact that special needs education is lacking. We really do not have enough professionals in that sphere. And, UBEC, like you have mentioned, has also mentioned inclusive education, meaning that we're not supposed to have special schools for special needs students. We're supposed to include them in the classroom and teach everybody. Is Lagos State government doing anything in terms of empowering professionals to handle special needs students in the traditional classroom?
Thank you very much. Lagos State is one of the states that adopted and accepted that policy when it was introduced. In Lagos, we have 31 inclusive units. And the idea is to, bring all the pupils together, regardless of their physical, disability and all that. So we have that 31 inclusive units in this school. It is part of our mandate. Our mandate must make education equitable, all-inclusive for all and sundry. So that is that. Although we have about 5 special schools for those who are under special category that cannot, if we really want to, train them, if we really want them to learn at the rate, you understand, we must separate those categories. So we have 5 special schools, but other who are in, lighter or category, they are part of our inclusive unit. We have 31 of such schools in Lagos State.
Okay, sir. Let's talk about the curriculum of the public school education vis-a-vis private school. And many people have said, oh, the reason why we take our children out of public school or don't want to put them in public school is because the private school curriculum is more robust. Is that the case as of today since ECO Excel, or are parents just not well informed on what has been happening since?
Thank you very much. The government alone cannot do it. Education is a social good. The demand for such good outweighs the supply. That is why the space is open up for the private sector to come on board, but not at the expense of quality and standard. You cannot develop your own curriculum. We have one national curriculum, and that is what everybody is using. You understand? We are not only operators in the basic education sector. We are also, enforcers. We are also, making sure that they follow the rules. So there are rules to be followed. You understand? Curriculum is important. Our curriculum must be pupil-centric. That make it more collaborative, more cooperative, and it makes it more productive. So that is why the curriculum from the center determine how all schools, go. Your curriculum is your goal, the goal you have set for yourself. It determines where you go. So if the curriculum is not pupil-centric, there is no way you're able to achieve your goal. So curriculum is very important when it comes to basic education sector. It must be culture sensitive. You understand? It must be age appropriate to capture all
Let me
this
go on a break, because you talk about culture sensitive. We'll talk about language in a moment. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've talked about the good news. Let's talk about the not so good news we're hearing from the public school sector, like issues of poor running water, potable water in schools. Many have talked about, you've talked about the infrastructure of tables and chairs, which is great. But many have reported that in the schools, even though during this COVID period, they lacked running water. How have you been able to fix that problem?
Thank you very much. We don't see that as a challenge. We have 1,016 schools in the state, and over 89% of those schools have running water, one form of running water or the other. You can go there and check. And we have other intervention programs from all over the place that is also assisting us when it comes to issue of water, particularly at this period of COVID. The safety protocol of COVID, allows us to have water that is running in our schools. So you can go to our school and you will see that over 89% of our schools have running water.
Aside from the potable water, what about the sick bays in the school? How equipped are they? Are they available? What about the toilets? How good are they? Are they what human beings can use?
Thank you very much. When it talks of toilets, we are making every attempt to make sure that our toilets are modern and available. We got intervention from members of the Federal House of Representatives, the senators. For instance, Senator Oluremi Tinubu has been able to provide over 100 motorized borehole, toilet, and things like that. We have other NGOs that have also been assisting us in this regard, just to make sure that we have, modern toilet in our school.
The sick bays?
The sick bays are also available in our school, although they are not as much as we wanted it to be. Mr. Governor has just approved, the provision of first aid boxes in all our schools to complement what the sick bays are doing.
Yeah, so when we were talking about curriculum, you said something about the curriculum has to also be culture sensitive. And also that now brings me to the question about the Yoruba language being taught in schools and how I think EcoExcel is making it a priority. But for me, growing up in Plateau State Jos, when I went to school, I learned Igbo in school because the main language spoken in Jos is Hausa. So when you are in the school, you get to learn Igbo. Why do you think it's important to learn Yoruba in Lagos State?
Thank you very much. Like I have told you, as part of our mandate, our education must be relevant to the socio-cultural affinity of the host community. That, let us know that using mother language is very much important in what we do. Your language is your identity. And in order for you to be able to comprehend, particularly at that formative stage, your mother tongue is very important. Because of the period we found ourselves, we have not been able to properly incorporate Yoruba into language into the EcoExcel, because our pupils come to school twice, 2.5 days a week. So what we focus on primarily now is the literacy, numeracy, and the general paper, because of the fact that we don't have enough time to capture. But Yoruba is part of what EcoExcel is to do.
Now, let me talk about insecurity. Across the country, we've seen issues where children are being kidnapped. What is your government doing to ensure that our pupils are safe in public schools? That's one. And number two, let me let you answer that question first before I get to the second.
Well, thank you very much. To be honest with you, the sector is under siege. A war of attrition has been declared. We are under threat, particularly from the Hope Country area, the northern part of Nigeria. That is why the federal government in 2014, came up with a program known as the Safe School Initiative. The idea behind the Safe School Initiative is to mobilize funds, you understand, through, business leaders, world leaders, to ensure that the issue of insecurity in our schools are, adequately addressed. They had to move pupils and students from, troubled area to more secure area. That is on the part of the federal government to address the issue of, insecurity. In Lagos, for instance, we have witnessed 1 or 2 instances of, kidnapping in the past, and that has prepared us for, things to be done. just recently, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos with all other stakeholders in the education sector, came together to address the issue. Mr. Governor, at that level, also had a meeting with the security committee to define and come up with strategy as how to, man all our schools. It's a security issue. The nitty-gritty of the discussion cannot be shared here because of the sensitive nature of what, But I can assure you that in Lagos State, in the area of security, we are on top of it. We are working with the Lagos State Safety Commission. We are working with Lagos State Security Trust Fund and all other relevant security agencies to address the issue of our security in our schools.
Okay, so what about the federal government school feeding program? Is it applicable in Lagos State?
Well, thank you very much. The National Homegrown School Feeding Program is one of the social programs of the federal government, and it was adopted in all over the state in the federal setting, and Lagos was not an exception. We key into the program, sometime, last year, and we have started with the program. We have been providing, 1 day a meal for our pupil, and the idea is to improve upon their well-being and their welfare in terms of their health and the mental state. Also, it was developed to ensure that enrollment, retention, and transfer rate of our pupil are encouraged, and we have been doing that in Lagos State. During the lockdown, a modified, school feeding program was introduced where the federal government, distributed dry food instead of cooked food. And the school is resuming tomorrow. We have trained all the food vendors, which is a requirement. They must do that on the yearly basis to ensure that we have, very safe,
So in simple terms, is school feeding starting tomorrow?
No, not actually. We have done everything that is required. We are waiting on the federal government to give us a go at it. The program was designed, financed, and, implemented by the federal government. So we are waiting on their direction.
Okay, so I'm getting a few tweets, and most of it saying that this thing sounds just too good to be true. There must be challenges that you face, and maybe you'd want it to be better done with the Eco Excel. So what would you say are the challenges right now?
Well, thank you. One of the challenges is the data capturing. You understand? We realized that in getting data, it was very difficult for us to get the data. That is why we want to make our board a data-driven, administration or organization to ensure that our decisions are based on informed data. You understand? It's one thing to have data. It's another thing to have data that are effective, that will guide your decision. So one challenge we are facing right now is data gathering, and we are working on that too.
So let's talk about data for a second. So recently the governor gave out 12 cars. Was that based on data or based on just picking 12 teachers that are doing well in public schools?
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Governor made that commitment when it came for the graduation ceremony of the first set of the Eco Excel. At that ceremony, he said he's going to reward those who are doing great as our teachers. And we came up with a plan to have a committee in place. And one thing that is different with this committee is that it's private sector driven. You understand? The chairman of the committee, Mrs. Koiki, is an accomplished educationist. Yes. And we have other people that have supported her to make that, One important thing that set that ceremony apart is that the teacher get to nominate themselves. You get to nominate yourself, tell them what you have done, and based on the information you have provided, they're able to come up with some of these things.
We have to wrap up now, but I must ask this about the riverine areas. It seems as if they've been abandoned. Sometimes, because it's so difficult to access them, you have to go through water. Is your administration ensuring that the schools within those communities are not abandoned in this whole change?
As part of our mandate, we are to provide all-inclusive education, and all-inclusive means everybody must be involved, must be taken care of. We have a BECA, Basic Education Quality Assurance Officer, that go out there and monitor what is happening in our riverine area. they are called the hard-to-reach areas. So we go there on a weekly basis to know what is happening. And from the report we are getting, it's been very, very positive.
We will be monitoring you, sir. I mean, I'm happy that you come on show.
Following up.
It sounds good, but you know, now that you said it on TV, people will go out and check.
Let them check. Not only that, this is the era of social media. You understand? Mr. Governor is getting information on a daily basis. And the good thing about him...
do videos.
And yes, they will do it and send video. And Mr. Governor, in his own, you know, character, will just send it back to him. Mr. Chairman, go and act on this immediately. So there is no way you can hide anywhere these days with the advent of social media.
All right, that's all we can do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for coming to the show today. We appreciate your contribution. Okay, that's all we can take on the show today. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.